Hi and welcome to my channel. So today we are going to be learning how to make this beautiful mesh top. Okay, so the materials we'll be needing for this, we'll be needing some tape measurements, okay, some piece of yarn. I'm using a lightweight yarn, all right, and then some scissors, some stitch markers, and your hook. Okay, I'm going to be using a size 4mm hook, as you can see. I'm also making use of 2 shades of blue for this tutorial. All right, so let's get right into it. The first measurement we'll be needing is your bust measurement, okay, which is going to be the length of our starting chain. So you measure around the fullest part of your bust. Okay, so mine, as you can see, is 34. So this is going to be the length of our starting chain. Since this is a lightweight fingering yarn, okay, I'm going to be making use of 2 strands. You can also use a worsted weight yarn. 1 strand of a worsted weight yarn is okay for this as well. So we are going to make our slip knot, and to do that, you just yarn over, twist around, yarn over, and pull through, and then you pull through the tail end. So now you yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through, and continue like that to make your chain. Okay, so you just yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through until you have the length you need, which is the length of the bust measurement you measured. Okay, mine is 34 inches, so I'm just going to keep making chain until I have 34 inches in length. Now I have my chain measurement the way I want it, so I'm just going to measure it real quick. Okay, so you want to measure it and make sure you're not stretching the chain as you measure. Okay, you can lay it flat on a table to get the exact measurement. Okay, as you can see, mine is 34 inches, so try not to stretch the chain as you measure. That way it will not affect your measurement. Okay, next thing now is to join the chain to form a ring. So to do that, you want to arrange your chain. Make sure the right side is facing you. Okay, keep arranging it, working downwards, so that you make sure that the chain is not twisted, so that when we join it, the chain is not going to be twisted. That's what I mean. So you just keep going like that, turning it right side facing you until you get to the end of that chain there. Okay, and when you get the last stitch there, you turn it around, and then we are going to slip stitch into that very first chain stitch there. Okay, so you insert your hook, yarn over, all right, when you yarn over, and then you're going to pull through all loops on the hook. Okay, I'm just going to do that again so you see what I mean. Okay, so I'm just losing it. So you insert into that very first stitch there, then you yarn over, and then pull through all loops on your hook. Okay, and there we've joined our chain into a ring. So you just chain one, we are going to single crochet into that very first chain stitch there. All right, so, and then we'll place a stitch marker right on that very single crochet we just made, so that we'll know the beginning of each row. Okay, so once you've placed your stitch marker, you just want to insert your hook into the next chain stitch and yarn over, insert your hook, pull through, yarn over, and pull through. So we're just making single crochet on each chain stitches until we get to the end of the row. I'm just replacing my stitch marker, it fell off. All right, so just keep making single crochets until we get to the end of that row. Now I'm towards the end of the row, so you just want to make sure that your chain is not twisted. Okay, so keep making your single crochet, make sure that your chain is not twisted, that tail is pointing downwards, as you can see. Okay, so you are just going to keep making your single crochet on the chain stitches. Okay, and then you place your last single crochet there. Okay, once you've done that, we want to slip stitch now into that very first place where we place our stitch marker. So you take off your stitch marker and then slip stitch into that very first single crochet we have there. So that joins that round, as you can see. Okay, so the joining is going to be right on top of that tail there. So you're just going to chain one, turn your work, And then for round 2, you want to single crochet into the very first single crochet stitch from the previous round. So you place a single crochet on that stitch there. Okay, remember to put your stitch marker so you know where to slip stitch to join the round. Okay, so now you're just going to chain 3, and then we are going to skip 2 stitches, and on the third stitch you place another single crochet there. Okay, so you chain 3, skip 2 stitches, on the third you place a single crochet there. This is going to be the pattern we'll be repeating for this round. So you just chain 3, skip 2, place a single crochet on the third, and then you just keep repeating that until you go all the way around and back to where your stitch marker is. So towards the end of the row, you just want to keep repeating what you've been doing before. Place your single crochet there. Okay, so you're going to make chain 3 more stitches and then place our last single crochet. Okay, so you might have a stitch or 2 remaining. You just don't worry about it, just chain 3, and then we're going to slip stitch to the top of that first single crochet we did there. Okay, so you take off the stitch marker, insert your hook, pull through, and then slip stitch to join that round. Okay, so that joins that round, and then you just have to chain 1 and then turn your work. Okay, and once you've done that, you want to single crochet into that chain space from the previous round. Okay, so each round is going to be starting with a single crochet. So you single crochet there, pop your stitch marker to know where to join the round. Okay, so pop your stitch marker, you chain 3, and each of the chain holes you're going to be placing your single crochet there. So chain 3, on the chain space you place your single crochet there. So this is the pattern we'll be repeating until you get to the end of the row. All right, so just chain 3 and single crochet into that chain space, and then we just keep repeating this until we get to the end of that row. So now I'm towards the end of that row, so like usual, chain 3, single crochet into the chain space, chain 3, and on that last chain space there you place a single crochet. Okay, then we are going to chain 3 again. Okay, before we will now slip stitch to that first single crochet from the beginning of that round. So you just slip stitch to join that round. Okay, so that is it for this round. So you're just going to chain 1, turn your work, and like I said, the beginning chain space there you're going to insert and make a single crochet there. Okay, place your stitch marker as usual, and then we are going to keep making our chain 3 single crochet into each of the chain space. So you chain 3, in the next chain space there you single crochet. Okay, chain 3, in the next chain space there you place a single crochet. So this is the pattern we are going to be repeating all the way around until we get to the end of that round. So you just keep repeating this pattern all the way around until you have about 2 inches wideness before we'll switch to our next color. Okay, so I want to switch now to my next color. Okay, so the length before I will be switching is going to be 2 inches for each color. Okay, which is about 7 rows for the mesh part. Okay, so this is 2 inches. So I'm just going to bring in my next color of yarn, and then I'm going to cut off the previous yarn I'm using so that I can attach the next yarn. So just cut it, bring the next yarn. I'm going to be joining with the magic knot. Okay, so you can check out my tutorial on how to join with the magic knot if you cannot get it from what I'm doing right now on the video. So make sure the 2 tail ends are equal, and then you bring your yarn under the previous yarn, that's the new yarn under the previous yarn, like so, and then you tie with the new yarn on that end. Okay, so once you've done that, you want to turn around to the other end like that, and then you tie with the previous yarn onto the new yarn that we are working with, as you can see what I'm doing right now. So this is how I join. So once you've tied it down, you want to stretch the both ends of the yarn together, so that brings it close and joins that knot. So you pull tightly, and then we are going to cut off that excess yarn that we have there from the joining. Okay, so you trim that down, and then pull again to make sure it is tight and secure, and there you have it. We have joined our yarn. So now I'm just going to slip stitch into that first single crochet there to join this round. Okay, and then I'm just going to chain one, turn, and continue working as usual. Okay, so that way I've attached my new yarn and I don't have to weave in any tail by the time I'm done with my work. So you just mark your first stitch, chain 3, and just continue repeating the pattern like we've done until you've had about 3 more inches of this, 2 more inches of this new color, and then we are going to switch on to the next color as well. So now I've made about 2 inches of this new color, so I'm towards the end where I'm supposed to join this round. Okay, so this is it, about 2 inches of this color. So I'm just going to switch onto the next color, okay, which is the previous shade of blue I was working with. So using the same joining method like I used before, I'm just going to attach the new color and then keep making these, okay, and keep working with the new color until I have the desired length I want, which is about 2 inches, and then we'll just keep alternating the colors, 2 inches for each shade of the color until I have the length before we start making the armhole. So this is the length of the work. Okay, I've been making 2 inches for each color alternatively, and the last one is about 1 inch. Okay, so you just want to lay it flat, don't stretch, and then we are going to measure it. As you can see, I have about 9 inches, which is from the top of my bust, okay, to under my bust, about my waistline, which is 2 inches above my navel. All right, so I'm just going to finish off that round because that's the length I want. You can make yours longer or shorter depending on how you want your top to be. Okay, so I'm just going to slip stitch to join. Okay, and then we're going to chain 1, pull up a loop, and then we're going to cut off that tail end so that we can start making our armhole. So now we are going to be working from this part of the work upwards towards the shoulder. All right, so that's it. This is just me showing you what the work looks like on my body. Okay, so far, as you can, like I said, it's going to be 2 inches above my navel. Okay, so that's what we have. So right now we're just going to measure for our shoulder. Okay, place it on top of your shoulder blade and then measure all the way to the top of your bust. As you can see, I just did mine is about 7 inches, so that's the measurement to be using for our shoulder measurement. All right, so right now we are just going to mark out the armholes. Okay, so you want to put that joined part to the end of your work, to the end like so, as you can see. So you place it at the end, straighten it out, smoothing it out flat, and then we are going to mark out for the armholes, okay, on each side of the work. So now you just want to take your tape measure and we're going to measure 1 inch across on both sides. So you measure 1 inch from one end towards the center of your work, okay, and then we are going to place a stitch marker in between. So you want to mark both the front side and the back part of your work together. Okay, so yeah, place a stitch marker there, and then as you can see, I mark both the front and back. So you want to repeat the same thing for the other side. Place your stitch marker there and then mark out 1 inch. Okay, so if you're bigger, you can choose to mark out maybe 1.5 inch, but 1 inch is okay for adults. So that's what I usually do. So just mark that place out as usual, the front and back together, and then we are going to start making the front part of the work. So to start making the front part of our work, so you choose any side as your front. So we are going to start working from that chain space right close to the stitch marker. Okay, so just attach your yarn. Okay, as you can see how to attach your yarn. Once you've done that, you want to chain 1, and then we are going to place 2 single crochets into that chain space. So this is 1. Okay, we are going to make the second single crochet as well into that same chain space. Okay, so once you've done that, you want to chain 3, skip the single crochet there and place a single crochet into the chain space. Okay, chain 3, single crochet into the next chain space. So that's what the pattern you would repeat all the way across until we get to where the other stitch marker is, to the end there. So I have worked all the way to the end where that stitch marker is. Okay, so single crochet, and then on that chain space where that stitch marker is exactly, we are going to place 2 single crochets like we did in the beginning. So you chain 3 and place 2 single crochets into that very same chain space. Okay, so chain 1, and then we're going to turn our work and do for row 2. Okay, so this time around we are going to place a single crochet into the very first chain single crochet there. Okay, and then you chain 3, skip that other single crochet there, and then in the chain space you're placing a single crochet there. Okay, so chain 3, you continue as usual and keep making your chain 3 single crochet into the chain spaces until you get to the other end of your row. At the end of the row there, I have just 1 chain space and 2 single crochets that I did from the beginning of the other row. So you chain 3, single crochet into the chain space there, and then we are going to chain 3 and then skip that single crochet there and place a single crochet on the very last single crochet from the previous row. Okay, so that completes this round. So the pattern to note for this part of the work is that the first row is going to be 2 single crochets on the beginning and the end of the row, and on the second row is going to be 1 single crochet on the beginning and the end of the row. Okay, so that is the 2 row pattern we're going to be repeating until you get the desired length that you want. The next row, you're just going to chain 1, turn your work, and then we're going to repeat what we did for row 1, which is placing 2 single crochet into that chain space there. Okay, so we are skipping the first single crochet there, and then you're placing 2 single crochet into the same chain space. All right, so once you've done that, you want to chain 3 and continue with the normal pattern all the way across until you get to the end of the row. So you single crochet into the chain space, chain 3, single crochet into the chain space, and repeat all the way around until we get to the end of the row. So now I've worked all the way around to the end of that row. Okay, so I'm just going to do the last chain there, and then place a single crochet into the last chain space. Okay, and then place another single crochet on that last single crochet from the previous row. So like I said, this is starting with 2 single crochet and ending with 2 single crochet. So for the next row now, which is starting with 1 single crochet, so you just want to place a single crochet on the very first single crochet there. Okay, and then you chain 3 as usual, keep the single crochet and place a single crochet into the chain 6. So that is just the point to keep repeating row 1 and row 2. Okay, just keep repeating them like that all the way around until you get to the length we're needing before we create our neck hole. Another thing is also to remember to switch to your next color after you have 2 inches of this color. Okay, just like we've been doing. So you keep repeating that until you have the desired length before we make the neck hole. Okay, so this is the length I have before I'm going to mark out for the neck holes. Okay, so what you want to remember is to remember to alternate your colors as you go. So I have about 4 inches, okay, in length. So remember that 7 inches I measured for the shoulder length. Okay, all you have to do for yours, measure your shoulder length and take out 3 inches. For me, 7 minus 3 is 4 inches, so that's what I'm working with. Okay, so the remaining 3 inches is what we are going to use in creating the neck hole. Okay, so for that remaining 3 inches, we are now going to be making decreases as we go up after marking out some parts in the center. Okay, so now let's mark out the part that we'll be needing. So to do that, you want to measure your work all the way across. Okay, like I just did now. Mine is 13.5, so just pinch it at that end there and fold your tape together to get the center of your measurements. Okay, so it's about right there, so I'm just going to place it back and then mark out the center. Okay, so you want to place a stitch marker on that center stitch there, which is the middle part of your work. Okay, once you've done that, we are going to measure out 2 inches on both sides starting from the center there. Okay, so place it at the center, you mark out 2 inches to the right. Okay, place a stitch marker there, and then we're also going to place the tape again and then mark out 2 inches to the left as well, as you can see what I'm doing in the video. Okay, so you mark out 2 inches from the left as well. So I'm just using a tape to mark out right now. I just run out of stitch markers. So yeah, that's what you need to do. So once you've marked out the center part, so we are going to start working outwards and making decreases. Okay, so before we start making the neck, okay, we are going to go ahead and repeat the same thing we did for the front part for the back part. Okay, so you just want to repeat the same thing, attach your yarn, work all the way, and then you're going to make it to be longer than the front part. Okay, remember the first part we did 7 minus 3, which was 4 inches. So the back panel is going to be minus 2. Whatever your shoulder length is, you just take 2 from it. So mine is 7 minus 2, so I have about 5 inches there. Okay, so once you've done that, you just want to go ahead and then mark out the center part as well for the neck hole, just exactly what we did for the front part. That's what you're going to do for the back part. Okay, another thing is to make sure that your stitches, like the holes on both ends of your work, are equal. Okay, so if it's not equal, you try to find a way to balance it out so that it does not affect your work. So now I've done one part of the shoulder, okay, creating the neck hole. I remember, as you can see, I changed my colors when necessary. Okay, so remember to do yours. And then the next thing is to note that we are working from where we marked outwards. Okay, so when you come to this other side, you want to start from that part and work your way outwards. That is it. So to attach my yarn, okay, so we are going to do the same thing we did there for this other part of the work. So you attach your yarn into the chain space that is close to where you marked your stitch. Okay, so just attach your yarn like so, and once you've done that, you want to chain 1 and place a single crochet into that very same chain space where you attached your yarn. Okay, so you just want to chain 3, okay, and then you place a single crochet into the next chain space. Okay, so you're basically repeating the pattern we've been doing all the way around until you get to the end of that row. So I'm at the end of that row. I'm just placing the last single crochet into the very last stitch there. Okay, started with 1 single crochet and with 1 single crochet. You just want to chain 1, turn your excuse me, and then the thing is to place 2 single crochets into the chain space. Okay, remember the pattern we've been doing before. The row is 1 single crochet, the next row will be 2 single crochets. So you chain 3, in the next row place 1 single crochet, and you just repeat that all the way across until you get to the end as well. Okay, I'm at the end of the row, so I'm just going to place my last single crochet. Remember, it's going to end with 2 single crochet as it started with 2 single crochet. So chain 1, turn your work, and this is where we're going to place our decrease. Okay, remember to make your decrease on the side where you marked your stitch. okay, close to the center of your work. So we're going to skip the first 2 single crochet there. Then in the chain 3 space, we are going to place a single crochet there, and then you want to mark it with stitch marker so that you will not forget the first stitch there. So you just continue working your regular chain 3 single crochet into the chain space all around until you get to that end as well, and then remember to end this round with a single crochet. So I'm just placing my last single crochet for the end of this row. Okay, so I'm just going to chain 1, turn my work, and then make the next round, which is going to start with 2 single crochets. Okay, so placing 2 single crochet into the very first chain space there, chain 3 single crochet into the next, all the way until you get to that very last stitch there where your stitch marker is. So towards that end where the stitch marker is, I'm just going to place my single crochet, remove my stitch marker, and place the last single crochet there, completing it 2 single crochet at the end. Okay, so once you've done that, as you can see, I've changed my color of yarn because I've made about 2 inches of that dark blue. So I'm just going to chain 1, turn my work, and then remember this is going to be the decrease round. Okay, so all you have to do is that you're going to skip the first 2 single crochet there and place 1 single crochet into the chain 3 space. Okay, then you want to mark your work like so, and then you just continue chain 3 single crochet into the next all the way until we get to the end of that round. Okay, so at the end of that round, we are placing 1 single crochet, okay, on that very last stitch there. Okay, so place 1 single crochet there, and then we are going to measure it to see if it's gotten to the decreased length we want. Okay, so I want about 3 inches decreased length, so you want to keep making your decreases until you have about 3 inches, and then once you have that, you would stop making your decreases. As you can see on this other part of the work, the shoulder part is 3 inches in length, so I made my decreases until I had about 3 inches, and then I stopped. And so right now my decrease is 3 inches in length, so I'm just going to continue making without decrease until I have the remaining 3 inches that I'm working with. Okay, I don't know if you get what I mean. So we are just going to keep repeating our pattern all the way around until we get to the end of that round. Okay, so single crochet, chain 3, single crochet, and then we're placing the last single crochet into that very last single crochet from the previous round. Okay, so once you have that, you just want to keep doing that like I said before. So you just want to keep working forward, backward until you complete that remaining 3 inches from your shoulder length. Okay, so as you can see, the round shape for the neck is already formed as well, so just keep doing that until you have the length that you need. The remaining length for me is about 2 inches. Okay, as you can see, so I'm just going to keep making this working with this lighter shade of blue until I have about 2 inches in length. Okay, and then that will be all for my shoulder. So in total, I'm going to be having 7 inches, as you can see. So that is just what you want. The total should be the length of your shoulder. So I'm done making the remaining 2 inches for the other side. Okay, you can see the U-neck is already formed, so you want to go ahead and do the same thing for the back panel. Do your decreases. Okay, you can see that U shape formed right there. Okay, so remember for the back, you're only going to make 2 inches. Okay, because we already did 5 and we needed 7, so you make 2 inches for the decrease. Okay, completing it 7 for the shoulder length. So that's all you need to do for the back part. Okay, so the next thing now is to join the shoulders together. Okay, make sure your work is on the wrong side facing you. Okay, so insert your hook through the first single crochet and the other single crochet on both panels, and then we are going to be joining with single crochets all the way across. So you attach your yarn, okay, chain 1, and then we are going to place a single crochet into that very first single crochet there. So we are crocheting through the 2 panels together. So in the chain space, you're going to make 2 single crochets there. Okay, remember we are crocheting together. Okay, and as you can see, I'm crocheting right on top of that tail there, so I don't have to weave it in later. So into the single crochet on the first and the other part, you place another single crochet on top of the 2 of them like that. So you just want to keep doing this until you get to the other end. Then chain 1, okay, pull up a long tail for weaving in and then cut off, and then we'll repeat the same thing on the other side of the work. So now I'm done joining the 2 ends with single crochet, as you can see. Okay, so once you're done joining, okay, that's the right pattern, that's the right part of the work, and then this is the wrong side. So the next thing to do now is to start making the neck. Okay, to shape out the round neck very well. So you, from that shoulder join there, the very first single crochet, okay, there you're going to insert your hook and then attach your yarn into that single crochet by this side there. Okay, and then we're going to place a single crochet into that very first single crochet space there. Okay, and then on the next stitch space there, you're going to place a single crochet there. Okay, on the next, you'll place a single crochet as well. You can notice I'm working over the top of that tail there. Okay, so that's to weave it in. So you just keep doing that until you get to the end of that row there. So when you get to the end of that row there, okay, you want to place a single crochet into that chain space there where we started working that shoulder, and then on the next single crochet, place another single crochet. In the chain 2 space, you place just 2 single crochets. Okay,
on the single crochet you place one single crochet, and chain two space you place two single, and this is just the pattern we are going to be repeating all the way across. All right, so now I've done the single crochet all the way around. Okay, so now I'm going to join the last single crochet to the first single crochet with a slip stitch. So you chain one, turn your work, and then you single crochet into the very first single crochet there, and then we're just going to keep making single crochets on top of each of the single crochet from the previous round all the way across. Okay, then another thing, from this row upwards, what we are going to do is to mark out the center of the front part and the back part. Okay, so after marking, anytime we get to where we mark, we are going to make a decrease. All right, so just work and make a decrease each time we get to our stitch marker. So that is what we'll be doing for this round and the sequence rounds. So I'm just going to keep making single crochets until I get to where my stitch marker is. So when you get to where your stitch marker is at the front part there, we are going to be making two decreases. Okay, so you take off the stitch marker, insert your hook, pull up a loop, insert your hook into the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through all. Okay, so that's the decrease. You're going to do that one more time again. Okay, making two decreases. All right, so you just keep making your regular single crochets on each of the following stitches, and this is what we'll be doing all the way across until we get to where the next stitch marker is. So I'm at the back part where the next stitch marker is. Okay, that's center there. So you just make your next decrease, you take off the stitch marker. Okay, and we're going to make only one decrease for the back part. So the front part is two decrease and the back part is one decrease. So after the decrease, you keep making your regular single crochets all the way across. Okay, and just keep doing that until we get to the end of that round. Now I'm towards the end of that round. Okay, so I'm just going to finish off and then slip stitch to join that round together. Okay, so chain one, turn your work, and we're going to start making the next round, which is the third round for me. Okay, so you just keep making single crochets all the way across until you have about 1 inch in length. Okay, for the neck. Okay, so that's just what we are going to be doing. So remember to place your stitch markers at the center part of your work, at the back, and then also at the front as well. Okay, so when you single crochet and get to the back stitch marker, you reduce one, that's make a one decrease, and then to the front you make two decreases, and repeat that all the way round and round until you have about 1 inch in length.
Now, as you can see, I'm done making the neck. Okay, just round and round all the way with the reductions, and it's about 1 inch in length. Okay, I made a total of about 5 rows, which give me 1 inch. So the next thing now is for us to make the sleeves. Okay, I've already done this one off camera. Okay, so let's do the second part together. So now what you have to do, you want to attach your yarn, okay, to that center part there. Well, you can choose to attach it to that tail there where you know cut off before. So I'm just going to attach to that tail right there. Okay, now I'm done attaching. Okay, so the next thing for us to do is to start working on the next chain space there. Okay, so just chain one, and then we're going to make a single crochet into the chain space. Okay, chain three. So after you chain three, you're going to skip one hole, and then on the next hole there you're placing a single crochet there. So for this pattern we'll be skipping one hole, okay, each. So chain three, skip one hole, and on the next hole there, so you're using the holes as a guideline to crochet all the way around. Chain three, skip one hole, and single crochet into the next hole there. So that's what you're going to repeat all the way around, then join to the first single crochet there. So at the end there, we're just going to chain three and then slip stitch that first single crochet there. Okay, so that joins that round. So you want to chain one, turn your work, and then we're going to chain three and repeat the same thing all the way around. So single crochet into the first chain space, then in the next chain space you're not skipping anymore. So in the next chain space you place a single crochet, chain three, next chain space, place a single crochet, and repeat that all the way around. Okay, so we're just going to keep repeating that pattern until we have about 5 inches in length, like what we have right there. Okay, now I have about 5 inches in the length of my work, as you can see. Okay, so 5 inches without stretching the work. So the next thing to do now is to place single crochets all the way around. So for the next round, you chain one, turn your work, and then you want to place 2 single crochets into the chain three space. Okay, so that's one, and then into the same chain space you place the second one, that's 2. Then on the single crochet you place 1 single crochet there. In the chain three space you place 2 single crochet. Okay, 2, and then on the chain single crochet you place 1 single crochet, and you just keep repeating that 2 single crochet, 1 single crochet all the way around until you have the length that is needed. Okay, I made about 5 rows. Okay, so that's it for the other part of the hand, as you can see. So you just keep repeating that row after row until you have about 1 inch. Okay, I made 5 rows. You make how many number of rows to give you 1 inch. Okay, now I've completed the single crochet rows. Okay, the total length of the work now, including the single crochet, which is 1 inch, plus the other 5 is giving us 6 inches. Okay, so that's the length for the sleeve. So you go ahead and do the same thing for the other side of the sleeve part. Okay, so after that now we are going to place single crochet all the way across at the bottom part of our work. Okay, so to do that now we are just going to attach our yarn. You can choose to attach that tail end there, or you can just start from a new stitch. So you attach your yarn into the stitch right there. Okay, chain one, and then we are going to single crochet into the very same stitch where we attached our yarn. On the next stitch you're going to chain one, a single crochet, next stitch you're going to place another single crochet. So you can see I'm crocheting over the top of that tail there. Okay, so as to hide that yarn.
So you just keep placing single crochet on top of each of the single crochet from the previous round all the way around, and then when you get to the other end, you slip stitch to join that round, turn your work, and keep doing that until you have about 2 rows. So now I've made the 2 rows, okay, for this part. So the next thing now, you can see the 2 rows. So the next thing now is to weave in the ends, okay. So you'll make sure that your work is on the wrong side, okay, for you to weave in the tail ends. So you take your darning needle, and then for the long part where you have it longer tail, this is how to weave it in, okay. So you just feed your yarn through the needle, and then you go in between the stitches like so. You pass your needle through in between the stitches and hide the tail there. So once you've done that, you're going to then cut off the excess yarn, okay, and voila, you're done. So that's how to weave in that part of the work. And then for the places where you have shorter yarns, okay, what you just want to do is to take your darning needle, you pass it through the part where you want to weave it in, okay, and then you're going to then feed the short tail through the needle. Once you've done that, then you pass it through, and that's how to join for the shorter part, and then you cut off, okay. So we are just going to do that for all the places where we have our loose ends. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below, okay. That will be all. Thank you for watching. See you in my next tutorial. Bye.